All right, how's it going, everybody? Today I'm on with Bianca Simpson. Bianca and Tulsa Simpson are the owners of Groundstone Jiu Jitsu in Sneeds Ferry, North Carolina. Possibly opening up a new school here in January 2023, which is going to be in Topsail. So today I asked Bianca to come on to talk about her experience in Jiu Jitsu as a woman. Uh, Traditionally there's not a lot of women in Jiu Jitsu starting out, but there's a huge wave that has included a lot of world champions, a lot of women training in jiu-jitsu. So I wanted to invite her on to get her perspective. So with that said, Bianca, what made you start training jiu-jitsu?
So I think that I always wanted to do a contact sport, and I did running and triathlons like that before, but I always wanted to try some type of contact sport. I was a mom at the time, still am a mom, but I was a new mom, so I wasn't really sure what I could do. Um, so once I tried my first class, it was like I was sold. That was what I've been looking for, basically.
Was it a lot of pressure, being a woman coming in to train jiu-jitsu? Were there a lot of women training with you when you started training at the time, or?
Yeah, so I started in a women's class. I didn't really know any women that did jujitsu or anything. And going into it, I was more afraid of being too aggressive and too too crazy because I felt like I wanted to kind of expose myself in contact sports, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Um, so there was a lot of women, and they were all great. It was a great environment for me to start in for sure.
Talk about the women's program you have here. So Groundstone probably has one of the largest and most proficient and productive women's programs that I've seen. So talk about like the process of building that because you lead that up. What was the motivation to start that, and then just talk about how it's expanded into what it is today.
Yeah, so the women's program makes me very happy. I mean, I teach them, I lead them, but they are amazing on their own. I have stay-at-home moms. Most of them work as well. I have women who don't have children, and they are just. It's almost like someone laid them in the gym, and they all just fit together very nicely. It's great to lead them. They're so motivated, self-motivated. They show up to class. They're always eager to learn. I've even, you know, I began the women's program so it's easier to come in.
Mm-hmm.
So if, just like walking into the gym, sometimes for females, we're like, oh, I don't want to lift in front of men. I don't understand that personally,
Yeah.
but I do understand that to step outside of your comfort zone is really big for a lot of people. Um, so it's kind of like a transition class,
Yeah.
and I eventually pushed them to go into the co-ed class because
Okay.
it's not real life to just train with women all the time.
Yeah.
We still need to train with men. I think it's very important. When I transitioned out of my women's class as a white belt, I went into the adult class or the co-ed class for all adults. Um, and that was even better for me because I got to really realize like men are stronger. I mean, it is very true. Not all men, and it really made me rely on my technique
Yeah.
and not my strength. So going back to the ladies class, I pushed them to try to step outside of their comfort zone with the co-ed class. But it's been great. I took two of my girls to a competition a couple months ago, and they did amazing.
Nice.
So that
Yeah, yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
that feels very good. Like, okay, like they're in it,
Yeah.
and I just can't wait to see them grow, see them progress, make mistakes, hit walls, and
Yeah.
think they suck. So I love it.
So you've been doing it for a while as a purple belt, but what advice would you give to somebody that's just starting out, a woman that just saw maybe somebody else was training jiu-jitsu, a friend was training jiu-jitsu? What advice would you give them to encourage them to actually start training?
I would say the hardest part is stepping on the mat.
Yeah.
But once you're on the mat and you meet people, that's where like the connection really starts. I would say don't think twice about it. Just go and try. If you hate it, you hate it.
Yeah.
But don't if that's already arising in your mind and you're thinking about it, just do it, just like anything else. Just step out of your comfort zone. We watch sport jiu-jitsu all the time, and people going at almost 100% on the mats, but that's actually not what it's like. Once you really learn the puzzle pieces and you put them in your individual game, it really becomes like an art, and that's what it is, you know. And it's so great to see how much jiu-jitsu changes people's lives on and off the mats. I have women start, and then their kids start, then their husbands start,
The whole family,
and then they're all in the gym, and that's great, and that's really what Tulsa and I really strive to do, is just share that with people. And there's nothing better than to choke your friends, and you guys are cool after. So yeah.
So you mentioned competition. Talk about, there's a lot of fears, whether you're a male or female, about competing. Can you talk about like kind of going to a competition yourself, or like, coaching two from your women's class doing a competition as well too?
So competition for me right now, honestly, is very challenging because I am in a growth mode with instructing.
Yeah.
And we're opening up the second place, and it kind of feels like an excuse when I talk about it, but I love competition. I did competition as a white belt, blue belt, and as a purple belt. I still do, but I'm not able to always reach that beautiful, detailed schedule of training to, you know what I mean? Like Monday I'm doing this, Tuesday I'm doing that, and I do kind of miss that. But for me, like I have a lot of people behind me, you and Tulsa, things like that, with competing and stuff. So I just continue to get out there and do what I do best. And either way, just stepping out on the mat is definitely an accomplishment to me. Right now, I am very happy to be behind my white belts that are competing. I get very excited about that because I see all the things that I was doing, and I see all like the struggle and like
there's no way I did that.
I did all that, like crazy, just going 100%, not even thinking, just doing. And I love to watch them compete. I'd have to say, for me competing, I still very much love it. I love the accomplishment, but there's something about pushing someone,
coaching somebody else,
and encouraging them, and then watching them get out on the mat and be scared and all of that, and then they wind up winning.
Yeah.
I mean, it genuinely makes me smile. So, I definitely love to watch, probably more than I like to compete right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Now you go through phases. I mean, especially, Tulsa and I talked about this as a gym owner. It's already challenging yourself to just maintain, so many things behind the scenes people don't even think about.
Yep.
So to do that successfully and to be able to compete and be successful is a huge accomplishment that I don't think everybody can do. So kudos to both of you for being able to do that. In the women's class, do you guys train Ghee and Nogi, or is it just Ghee?
So we train Ghee and Nogi. Okay. I literally just changed it back to only Ghee, just because I wanted to, we're traditional jiu-jitsu, and it's not that Nogi's not traditional, but it's very hard sometimes when you're a beginner to understand switching up the grips. So if I show a move in Ghee and then 2 days later I'm showing a move in Nogi, you probably not even remember what I showed you 2 days ago.
Sure.
So now I'm switching up the grips, but we have one day where it's optional to roll. We actually do positional spars.
Oh, nice.
We do 18 rounds.
Yeah.
And so that's something I've kind of implemented from you into the ladies' class. So if you come on Fridays, they will be in every bad position I can put them in.
Nice.
And so it's optional for them to do that in no-gi. Obviously, if they're going to sign up for a competition and they're going to do no-gi, then I will completely change up the curriculum.
To focus on it. So you kind of alluded to that. So for those of you who don't know, when I was training in San Diego with Dustin Thornton at City of Champions, we would do 18 3-minute rounds, and he would put us in like the most horrible positions that you kind of never get yourself in. Your opponent has your back, your opponent's on top of you mounted, just to get you to work out of those positions. Definitely helped me, improve my game, and it helped me to think about what I would do in those positions. Can you kind of talk about how doing stuff like that prepares you for not only jiu-jitsu but for life as well too?
In bad positions?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. So for me personally, just being in any uncomfortable, I always say like I have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, and that's something I strive to do still, and that's something I try to teach my female students. Bad positions are, whether you're in a bad position or a better bad position. I mean, it mirrors life so much. We hit walls all the time. We have all these stressors, all these things going on. You know, planning this, kids, home, business, whatever it is. And sometimes we hit a wall and you might feel like, I'm not doing this right, I'm not performing well, I'm not reaching my goals. But it's all like smoke and mirrors. It's just that feeling is just something to push you to get over a wall.
Yeah.
And that's very much what bad positions do on the mat. Like you can either freak out and be like, oh my gosh, I'm failing right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and tap,
Yeah.
or oh, like they really got this, or you can calm down, remember the technique, uh, and figure your way out of the storm.
Nice.
So that definitely, I always think about that. If my jujitsu is a little foggy, a little bad, then something in life is a little foggy and a little bad, and I need to put the pieces back together, and do what I need to do to get over that wall.
Cool. So you think there's a correlation between life and jiu-jitsu?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and I notice it. Like I can be on the mat rolling super hard, not getting out of any positions, doing everything that I've learned, and it's my attitude, or it's my ego, or it's something that I'm not doing in my personal life, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
And that's why you got to just keep training, even when you don't feel like it, when you're upset, when you're happy. Everything's great when you're happy. You're like, oh,
Best jiu-jitsu in the world.
right,
Yeah.
I'm doing things so great. Oh, I choked
Yeah.
him, I
Yeah.
armbarred them, and then
Yeah.
the next day you're getting smashed.
Yeah.
Right. So I have definitely learned that. So when I'm like swimming in the, I don't know how to explain it, like swimming in like the dark.
Yeah.
That's the time to really, try to stay calm, try to get comfortable in those moments, because you only grow from those moments.
Sure.
I mean, that's what I have taken from it.
So last question, I always like to end with talking about, the process. So from your perspective, the process of starting, training, running a successful academy, what's been the most rewarding part of the process or most memorable part of the process?
That's hard.
Tough question, huh?
Yeah. Rewarding. I have so many students that come from traumatic backgrounds. That's youth and adult, including myself. And I watch so many people transition, kind of like caterpillar to the butterfly.
Yeah.
It's so rewarding when you see someone come in and they know nothing, or they don't have a lot of self-confidence, or they're timid, super introverted. And those are usually my best students, the ones that are very introverted and quiet. To watch them transition into their own confident individual, pouring back into the community, that's really huge for us. Those are definitely big rewards. With the kids' classes, like our little kids, they first come in the first month or two, they don't get anything.
Yeah.
And it's they have to
Yeah.
get comfortable.
Yeah.
They don't know us, but then all of a sudden you see like a switch, and they're on the mat, and they're
The confidence builds.
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I know you've seen it with your kids,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's
My
crazy.
kids, they started training here. Raven trained off and on a little bit, but their first official like jiu-jitsu school was here. So to see them develop the confidence, it was definitely eye-opening. So.
Yeah, it's super important, and that is rewarding for me. And then what was the other question you said?
So either most rewarding or most memorable thing throughout the process of training, opening a successful school and running a successful school.
So most memorable, like I didn't have a lot of self-confidence, not like um, self-confidence like in my abilities in everyday life, like social skills, things like that, but self-confidence with just feeling like I could achieve anything anybody else could. What's been most memorable for me, I think, is watching myself um, really blossom more into an instructor. And I mean, I learn from my students all the time, but like that role and having more faith in myself to lead people, um, that is very memorable for me because it's made me like a better mom, a better wife, things like that, because I have to interact with people every day. And I have to continue, even if I'm having a bad day, I have to encourage them. I have to all right, this ain't about me, this is about them. So that has made me better. So for me, that is most memorable. Um, and growing from where we were before to now has just, I feel like, has shown, God is like, okay, this is what I'm going to give you. Groundstone is not ours. This is the community's.
Yeah.
So we're here to put in work and give service to other people.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome. Tulsa and I talked about going from the corner lot, which is now a laundromat, to moving a few units down to a larger spot, to ultimately, moving across the street and being able to purchase this huge space. So
yes.
Thank you again for coming on the podcast. And hopefully, if you're in the Sneed Ferry, Jacksonville, Wilmington area, you stop into headquarters here at Groundstone, or
yes.
fast forward 2023 January, you can drop in at the B team down in Topsail. So
yep.
Definitely encourage you guys to stop by. And the women's class is Fridays, right?
Monday, Wednesdays,
Monday,
and
and
Fridays.
Wednesday, and Fridays.
Yep. So at this location, Mondays and Wednesdays are from 9:30 to 11. Fridays are from 1 to 2. And then at the new location, Surf City, I'm looking at Tuesday, Thursdays.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you again for coming on.
Thank